Coming up, Native Guitars Tour empowers artists and communities through music, and Ground Control creates a safe space for youth in Pine Ridge. We learn from the creatives at the center of these initiatives. I'm Aaliyah Chavez. Join us for those interviews plus headlines from the ICT Newscast.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.
Arizona State University welcomes 3,500 Indigenous students from Arizona and across the nation. It serves one of the largest populations of Indigenous students among U.S. colleges and universities. We created a sense of place for tribal nations to create futures of their own making through community outreach and research, taught by world-class Indigenous faculty where they see a reflection of themselves and their experiences. Find community at ASU.
Amadawahopa, thank you for joining us. We start today in Washington, D.C., where the U.S. Supreme Court has dealt a major blow to Navajo Nation water rights. The High Court ruled 5-4 on Thursday that the Treaty of 1868 does not require the federal government to take steps to assess and secure water for Navajo. According to Justice Neil Gorsuch, the core of the case was to ask the federal government to assess the nation's water rights that are held in federal trust. The court majority ruled the federal government doesn't have to do this and added that it doesn't have to provide water infrastructure through the 1868 treaty. Navajo attorney Derek Beetso weighed in from ASU's Sandra Day O'Connor College of Law. He is also an ICT board member.
The administration can do, all the things that the tribe's asking them to do without a court telling them to do it. And so I think the Navajo Nation can shift gears and put a lot of pressure on the Biden administration and see what can get done under this administration.
With the mega drought that has plagued the Southwest for over 2 decades, water rights have become vital for the nation. This ruling is a step back for the Navajo Nation to secure rights from the Colorado River and underground aquifers. Staying in Washington, D.C., another tribal nation is dealing with the fallout of a U.S. Supreme Court decision. In addition to a case on the Indian Child Welfare Act, the High Court decided the case Lac du Flambeau Band of Lake Superior Chippewa Indians versus Coughlin. The question before the court was whether or not tribal governments were included in the definition of governments in the Bankruptcy Act. Tribal governments are not explicitly listed in that act. Instead, the court ruled that tribal governments would be included in the Act's catch-all phrase that includes other foreign or domestic government. This sets a dangerous precedent where courts could start legislating from the bench on cases involving tribal sovereignty. Longtime tribal ally Mike Andrews and current partner at McGuire Woods spoke to ICT.
As Justice Gorsuch said, they move tribes into foreign governments. And quite frankly, we're not. We're tribal governments. And we were here before the United States. So a little disingenuous, to be perfectly honest.
The court's ruling means that tribal governments, like all other governments, cannot use sovereign immunity in bankruptcy court proceedings. The court could have given this case back to Congress to further define, but declined to do so. For the first time in Alaska, rabies has been detected in moose. In early June, officials from the city of Nome received reports of a moose acting aggressively toward people in the community. The moose was unbalanced, stumbling, drooling profusely, and had bare patches of skin. The Alaska Department of Fish and Game collected samples from the animal. The Alaska State Viral Laboratory then confirmed the state's first report of rabies in the brain of the moose. Rabies diagnoses are rare for moose, but other cases in South Dakota, Minnesota, and Canada have been reported. Moving forward, the Alaska Department of Fish and Game says it will increase rabies surveillance in wild animals. Well, this year's Inspire Awards is significant as it marks 30 years of honoring First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. APTN's Chris Stewart has the story.
Welcome to the 30th anniversary of the Inspire Award. And you're calling me an icon?
Well, you are. I mean, you won the Inspire Award.
3 decades, Inspire has recognized First Nation, Inuit, and Métis people who have made a difference in their field. From arts to sports, health, business, law, education, and more. Over the years, the nonprofit has helped Indigenous students with over $190 million in aid. 12 more laureates were added this year. Mike DeGagne is the president and CEO of Inspire.
We're honoring Indigenous excellence in a number of different fields, showing the world that Indigenous people are not only meeting but excelling and leading the world in a lot of areas.
Honoring people like Marjorie White, Lifetime Achievement winner for helping establish the Friendship Centers movement across Canada.
Oh, it was very exciting. It was, when you get nominated for something like this, it's like, well, what have I done?
Willow Allen, Ruby Bruce, and Rihanna Morasti.
Rihanna Morasti hails from the Barrenlands First Nation in Manitoba. She won the First Nation Youth category for her work in architecture and climate change.
And it was very overwhelming. It was a call from Mike saying that I won this award, and it just felt very overwhelming to hear that. So it took a long time to process the information, but I'm super grateful.
When I started modeling, it really allowed me to have a lot of confidence in what I look like.
Willow Allen from Inuvik in the Northwest Territories won for Inuit youth for her success in fashion and advocacy for the power of Indigenous women.
About 4 years ago, I moved from my Arctic community in Inuvik, Northwest Territories, and I started modeling. And so since then, I've moved across the country and done different jobs for some really big brands. And I'm now signed with 7 different modeling agencies, and I'm signed with one of the top ones in New York City.
She says winning the Inspire Award is special.
It was so awesome. I never could have imagined getting recognized in such an incredible way. And just hearing about the awards before and just knowing so many amazing people that have been up for it in the past. It's just such an honor to be amongst so many great people.
And so, yeah, it's just been wild that everything that I've ever dreamt of has been coming true.
Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Edmonton.
Now to Phoenix, Arizona, where visitors had a chance to experience the Herd Museum like never before. The museum partnered with Cowtown Skateboards, 7-Layer Army, Nike N7, and others to create a family-friendly event last weekend. The free event had plenty of food and activities to fill the afternoon, including a skate deck design workshop where young artists could create their own design. There were skate ramps available for the young beginners to pick up some pointers, and even an indoor half-pipe ramp for the more seasoned skaters. The event also showcased Nike's shoe and apparel line N7 that benefits Native American communities. The new shoe, called the Nike SB Dunk Low Pro Decon, was available for purchase, and a portion of the sales went to the Phoenix Indian Center. The newest line was designed in partnership with individuals from the Haudenosaunee Confederacy and several Ojibwe communities. They were released June 15th and have already sold out online. We'll have more about skateboarding initiatives in Native communities later in our newscast. Those are our headlines. Native Guitars Tour is an organization that spreads music and industry knowledge all across Indian country. Its tours include concert events, workshops, and presentations. Alicia Ortega is the development strategist of Native Guitars Tour, and she joins us now virtually. Hi there, Alicia.
Hi, Aaliyah. Good to see you.
Tell us how Native Guitars Tour was founded.
Sure. So Native Guitars Tour has actually been in existence for the past 16 years. It was founded in 2007 by Jer Anderson. He's from Cochiti and San Felipe Pueblos. He's a singer, songwriter, guitarist who's had a career as a musician for the last 30 years, and really created NGT as a platform to uplift all Native musicians and creatives. And with his experience and knowledge of industry NGT has been able to support hundreds of Native musicians at all stages, especially up and coming artists. I've been involved with NGT over the last 7 years, mostly doing advisement and behind the scenes kind of work, but it's really been truly uplifting and fulfilling for me to just witness and be part of the progress and the growth of NGT on the home front over the years.
Can you provide some context into why something like NGT was needed to begin with?
Well, NGT's really evolved over the years, and really to create an authentic and one-of-a-kind unique experience by combining music, art, and fashion into the events we host. We showcase the modern-day brilliance and intelligence, talent of Indigenous peoples through our stories intertwined with songs, and really to share our messages through our art in a creative way. Art is powerful, and we're using it to transcend our narrative as Indigenous peoples and really reclaim it. And in the process, heal our traumas by sharing our truths and our histories. We work with artists at all levels to provide showcases for events, artist development, performance opportunities, mentorship pairings, and really just a strong support network of fellow creatives to lean into.
And where exactly do these events take place?
They've taken place all over the country. We've hosted many here in New Mexico, Santa Fe, Albuquerque, Phoenix, California, Las Vegas. This year we're headed to Nashville. And then next year we have some really exciting plans to go international as well.
Tell us how your organization works with young people and with students.
So we've been in the process of developing curriculums for students to share music, art, and fashion as a pathway for our communities and youth, and really to inspire and uplift our young people. Unfortunately, as we know, our Native youth suffer from some of the highest rates of suicide, addiction, and depression, and that's just simply not an acceptable way of life for our young people. So Native Guitars Tour is really committed to motivate our youth to dream big and to see that anything's really possible. We want to reach youth, especially living in the res and in our communities, and show them that there's many paths in life, that they have value and they can take and create a life for themselves that include careers in music, art, fashion, film, and so much more. I always say, as Indigenous people, we're really like the OGs of entrepreneurship, especially in the creative space. And we're really trying to redefine what business and entrepreneurship can be for our communities through a creative and Indigenous lens, and doing that by leaning into our culture.
Can you describe the success and the benefits that you've seen from putting on these kinds of events and inspiring the community?
Well, there's been many. I would say we actually just came off of a really fun and exciting event earlier this month on June 6th in Kiwa. It was a collaboration with Santo Domingo Community Schools, where we were able to host programming sessions for students during the day in music, art, and fashion. That included mini painting projects, a community mural, fashion designing with paper dolls, a mini model workshop, and music composition workshop. And then in the afternoon, we're able to have like a community celebration where we're able to host a number of performances and live painting. But in addition to that, I think we also really appreciated just being able to offer programming online, especially as we, have been going through a pandemic. I think that being able to reach folks that maybe we wouldn't have been able to reach otherwise before has been really great.
If you're looking 5 years down the line, where do you ultimately hope NGT is at that point?
Well, I hope definitely expanding for sure internationally, and we want to certainly do more work with schools, and there's just hundreds and thousands of talented indigenous people everywhere, and we want to connect with you and uplift you and support you. And I think in this work, what we're really trying to do extends beyond just music. And I think we're tapping into music as a means to combat stereotypes in a creative and powerful way by sharing our songs, our stories, and our talent with the world. Media is primarily influenced by music, art, and fashion in many ways. And as you know, media is one of our most powerful tools for storytelling. And I think through storytelling, we're able to tell our own stories using our art in its many forms. And we've gone through, just so many years as Indigenous people with those stories and the history being told for us. Like, we just really want to do that for ourselves in the best way we know how, in a creative way.
If folks listening to this interview want to attend an event or support NGT, how can they get involved?
Well, you can get involved in various capacities. I think first and foremost, it's important for us to create a safe space of inclusivity. And we're aimed at our work being intergenerational. And that's important, a value in our culture and with regard to knowledge transfer and respect for those that pave the way. So, everyone is welcome in our space, and you can certainly participate in many ways. If you're an established or up and coming artist, musician, performer, artist, model, MC, or an entertainer, definitely get in touch. Check out our website, nativeguitarstour.com, and we have submission forms to fill out. We can learn a little bit more about you. Also, if you're interested in volunteering for any events or sponsorship opportunities, of course, are always welcome. Definitely reach out through our website. We're also on social media. You can also reach out personally or directly to Jur or myself.
Well, Alicia Ortega, the development strategist for Native Guitars Tour, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Skateboarding is extremely popular in Native communities across the country, and especially for the Oglala Lakota Nation. In the summer, skaters have no issue hitting the concrete, but what happens in the winter when snow covers the ground? Kyle Mesteth is on a mission to solve this issue with the creation of a multi-use facility in downtown Pine Ridge. He built indoor ramps, hosts talent contests, and makes movies. Welcome, Kyle.
Thank you, Aaliyah. It's an honor to be here.
In a nutshell, tell us about the history of building ground control.
In a nutshell, it just started with realizing that the skaters needed a place to go in the winter, and I kind of wanted to attach a lot of things that I'm interested in, like making movies, music, performing, everything in that sense, and just giving these guys a place to be. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just curious, tell us about some of the personal stories of the skateboarders who have really benefited from having a place to skate indoors.
Yeah, when we acquired the building, a lot of the younger skaters, they joined in the build process of creating the ramps. So we were here during the winter just building ramps together, learning how to just get the dimensions correct on the mini ramp. And we actually had some professionals come here and skate our mini ramp, and they said it was, up to par.
How did skateboarding become so popular in your region to begin with?
To begin with, it started with a memorial tournament that my family hosted called the Toby Classic. And that began in the year 2002. And it's coming up on the 21st anniversary during our Oglala Lakota Nation fair and powwow. So I think that's like the major driving force that made skateboarding so popular here on our res, and I'm just doing everything I can to complement that.
As I mentioned previously, you also make movies. Tell us about your latest initiatives and projects.
Yeah, making movies has always been a passion of mine since I could remember. Every time I got a camera in my hand, I was creating something. So I had to figure out a way to attach that to ground control. So skateboarders, we always like to capture our moves and just make videos in general. So that's kind of where I started. with making movies up here, and then I'm like, man, I want to make something a little more like on the movie side opposed to just skateboarding. I wanted to do some skits, so we started making skits. Me and my buddy Bradley Hawk, when he joined, it was easier to create films. So when I got him involved, we created one of our first films, which was a vampire movie. And we created it around Halloween, so we was able to get the teeth and stuff. And now we are really advancing and just like doing more like we just did I shouldn't say it's advancing, but it's like doing different genres. Like we're doing a dance video that we did to a Chester Knight song called "Love Me Strong," and that was really cool because it kind of went across the whole res. So we're just developing a lot of different things, like full length films and series, but right now we're in the short film era.
And I also imagine that working on those kinds of projects helps with representation in the greater skateboarding community around the country.
Yes, it does. And that's like one of our major things is representation, explaining who we are. We're the Lakota skaters. We're the flying Lakotas, and it's how we express ourselves is through the videos, and everything that we do, whether it's a short film, we always try to put like skateboarding in there somehow. We try to attach that to every project we do so that we always remember where we came from, our roots, and that is skateboarding. So we are connected, throughout the whole country. We're known, the Lakota skateboarders, in the skateboarding world. The skateboarding world is actually, pretty small in the, the world, so it's cool to be connected in those ways.
We saw earlier this year that the Navajo Nation actually opened a skate park, and they had Tony Hawk there. If you're looking at your own initiative and your own dream, where do you ultimately hope that it takes you?
Man, just maybe getting like the X Games tour coming through here and getting some of our talents showcased on a bigger platform like that, so that these skaters around here can make their dreams a reality. Because like the Navajo Nation having Tony Hawk at their skate park, that's pretty rad. And, we just hope that, that we continue to skate in a good and positive way so that the world sees us as so, because, skateboarding is such a beautiful thing, and it's a great outlet to express yourself. And us here in Pine Ridge having the opportunity to skate year round now is a big thing for us, because when we would get shut down in the winter, it was just like, what are we going to do? We have this amazing outdoor skate park built, by Grindline Skate Parks, RIP Monk. And that's just like, the indoor skate park is just so, important for us, and it helps our skill level get to, unforeseen heights. So I just see us, hopefully, just breaking barriers and maybe even being in the Olympics.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Well, Kyle, we send all the best to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Native Sounds, Native Voices is a weekly radio show in Lincoln, Nebraska that has been on the air for decades. ICT Shirley Snavy stopped by KZUM for an interview with two of the show's co-hosts.
It's time for Native Sounds, Native Voices!
It screams Indigenous, but it also screams that we're excited, and the listeners, once they hear that and it kind of builds up, it definitely sets the momentum for the show. And
we like to do a lot of variety of everything. We start out with the powwow songs, drum songs, because that's our culture. It's relevant to who we are as people.
Being a native in Lincoln, Nebraska is uplifting. If you come to Lincoln and don't see as many natives, that's because we're all together. It's a very, very close-knit community as far as natives go. We all try to support each other and attend pretty much anything that's going on through the Indian Center or the Lincoln Indian Club.
Yeah, so we've had a great 7 years together, and just really staying vibrant, staying in touch with what's going on in the community, Native community, as well as what Native music is out there.
One of the main things that we look for is, in the music that we choose, is something that with positivity, an uplifting message, even if it does touch, harsh topics. We still try to make sure that the message behind our show is positive, to remind our Native community that we can do good things and we are doing them, and we can support each other in bigger ways than just hitting a like button. We can actually, help each other and build upon our Native people.
Native Sounds, Native Voices has listeners from all over the world. You can find it Thursday mornings on kzum.org. And that's a slice of our Indigenous world. For all the latest, visit ictnews.org. From all of us in the newsroom, stay safe, my relatives.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.